Hey guys, Donway601, and today we're taking a look at Picardie. This updates campaign ship and probably the best French secondary battleship that we're going to get for a long while. So let's go ahead and dive on in and we'll go over everything. First things first, let's go over the build. We are running secondary battery mod 2 for that good old firing range on the secondary batteries, then propulsion mod, concealment mod, and then finally we're running main battery mod 3. I don't think it's 100% worth it to run secondary battery. I think you're still going to be doing plenty of damage with the main batteries, and the reload time is where you're going to want to focus. As far as its consumables go, you have the damage control party, then you have a repair party, main battery reload booster, you get 2 charges of it, and then finally enhanced secondary battery 2, which is the alternate one. It's going to boost shell grouping, reload time, and dispersion. This one premiered back on, I believe it was the Turpits, whichever the last Turpits was, the special Turpits. Overall, it's fine. Overall, yeah. One thing I do want to point out, the camo, because God, is it boring. Like, to be clear, here we take it off, and as you can see, it is literally just a naked Leon. They do have Picardie on the back, but like the camo doesn't actually change anything, which is just kind of lazy, and I kind of hate it. It's so unnecessary that, you know, oh well, congrats, you got the campaign ship. You don't even get a decent camo. Go burn one of your other camos, but you know, nothing. I don't know, man. I always like the historical looking camos on the ships, but here we are. Anyways, Commander. We are running Michael Letir, one of the pirate commanders. His main thing is he's gonna boost the damage of ship's secondary batteries, which is good for this one because when we get to it, we'll cover it, but the secondary batteries are big enough to actually do damage. So this makes sense. Then we're running Hipper and Haruna, and then Brawler, Porcupine, Megalomania, Master Mechanic, and Fight Fire with Fire. If you don't have Letir, may I introduce you to Japrat. He is pretty much the same thing. You're going to run probably the same build. I was running De Revol just to help with reload, but it is going to be pretty much the exact same build, except I am still old and have Fire with Fire, or had will to rebuild. We should be running Fight Fire with Fire. But that would be the kind of build that I recommend for Picardie. Now, as far as the stats go, survivability, 57,950 hit points with an armor thickness between 12 and 350 millimeters, and a 32% torpedo damage reduction. If we look, Picardie based on the Leon, but the good news is we do get a significant hull upgrade, right? Coated in 32 millimeters of armor, which is nice. It means you are going to be able to be fairly durable at the tier, assuming you are angling correctly. You do then also have that side plating where, does it pop up here? Nope. Or is that the 180? Maybe. I guess it's probably about 180. If we look at the Citadel, nice and below the waterline. Overall, it has a wonky turret layout that's going to force you to fire in compromised positions, but the armor is, I think, pretty good for what it is. It's definitely a somewhat durable ship. Artillery, you got 4-barrel 305 millimeter guns, kind of small, so you're going to have to know when to use which rounds on them. Firing range 15.6 kilometers with a reload of 20 seconds, so a fairly fast firing rate. HE shell damage 3,500 with a 15% to set fire. On the flip side, the AP 7,450 damage. The secondary batteries, and these are the important things, 130 millimeters, which means they're going to be able to punch through 32 millimeters of armor, which means you're going to be able to get a fairly decent amount of damage with the secondary batteries. With our build, 1 kilometers of range, reload time of 5.5 seconds, and 1,953 damage for each hit. So a fairly substantial secondary battery. The thing to note, though, there's not very many of these guns, but you can count on them to sort of chip away at the enemy. AA defense, lots of AA, but none of it very strong, and none of it, particularly effective. I would expect you are going to take a fairly large amount of AA damage, or you're going to take a lot of aircraft damage if one decides to focus you. Maneuverability of the vessel, 30 knot top speed, 700 meter turning radius, and a 13.4 second rudder shift time. Finally, the concealment, 12.4 kilometers at sea, 10.4 by air, and 11.1 when firing in smoke. So with all of that said, let's now go ahead and dive on in to a game. So today we find ourselves on Tears of the Cruiser. Tears of the Desert, but the cruiser name will definitely pop up here. Of course, we are running the good old Picardie, and as a ship overall, I think this is a okay campaign ship. I've always said that I like premium ships to be a bit weird, different from the tech tree lines, and that is definitely something that Picardie delivers on, right? It is a French battleship that is built around having secondary batteries and is, most effective with those secondary batteries, which is not what any of the other French battleships really do. Its main guns can still be effective, as we see we have a Suzuya beelining for the center of the map here. And we go ahead and pop our first reload booster, because if he's going to come out this early in that broadside, he can be particularly annoying, and we want to go ahead and handle him. Now, you saw we have a 20-second reload. It goes down to 10 seconds, and you kind of saw the spread of accuracy there, where that first salvo was, I'd call it decent. That second salvo was absolute shit. And this third salvo is somewhere in between, but it's enough to leave that that Suzuya, as Spartan would say, with just enough, or whatever he says. Anyways, but we're gonna go ahead, take the moral victory of illuminating that Suzuya, and then kind of start pushing into sea, because I'll be honest, for Picardie to be effective, you do sort of need the secondary batteries to go, which means we need to get ships within 11.1 kilometers, which is, not terribly close. It's a decent range, but as you can see, Jean-Bart is sitting right outside of that range. He's going to kind of nail us as we come across this opening here, as we would expect, but we want to get into sea. Mainly, we want to get that good old XP, and also just help out if any of their team wants to push in. We want to be able to support our one destroyer over here. As far as teammates on our side, we do have this Schroeder, which is another pretty decently built up secondary ship, though it's going to be, of course, a German cruiser. But we kind of are going to rely on the enemy pushing in. Black Bee pops up, and you can see one of the nice things, or weird things, whatever you want to say, about Picardie, and that's going to be the guns and its angles. It shouldn't be anything new to anyone, because Picardie is based off of Lyon, and if you've used Lyon, you know exactly what you're kind of in for as far as the gun angles go and how you're going to have to play. The only good thing here is now you do have, instead of being coated in 25 millimeters of armor, you're going to be coated in 32 millimeters of armor. You're going to be much more resistant, a much harder target to kind of have to deal with. So good news is we have B and C. Bad news is we've lost 3 battleships already to their destroyer and cruiser. And that means we have some work to do. We do have the we do have the caps lead, which means we're going to start gaining points, but we need to start kind of digging and start doing some damage here and there. And I was kind of hoping Borodino would push in a little bit more, but it doesn't look like he's exactly going to do that. And at this point, I'm like, okay, what can we do to focus this battle? We are very heavy-handed on this side, right? I think at this point, the best move for me is going to be to try and move into the middle lane to try to get a crossfire or to be able to start kind of kiting out the rest of the enemy team that is at A, because we are now severely behind, and I need to buy our side a bit of time to do what they need to do as a friendly Flander kind of pops up, and he's kind of doing his charging. Of course, you may say, Tommy, we've had Flander as a secondary French cruiser, and that is true. The big difference in all of this, and why I think Picardie is better than Flandre, is Flandre only has 100 millimeter secondaries, and those 100 millimeter secondaries mean it's going to struggle to do damage to pretty much anything other than destroyers. You're kind of totally operating on trying to hit ships for trying to hit ships and start fires to do damage with Flander. So while that is useful, doing damage, I find, is just a bit more fun. Anyway, Richelieu pops up here. You can see we are just not angled enough for him not to be able to do some damage, but he's well within our range of secondaries, and you're going to see we're going to start kind of whittling him down with those secondaries, kind of what this ship is designed to do. As our right flank is starting to collapse, it is what it is. We're going to try and do what we can to assist him, to assist our team on that side. But we need to kind of eliminate these ships over here if we stand any chance, because it is down 3. It's not looking good. Let's be clear. We're not looking good. You can all see we've gone ahead and started relying on the HE. The reason for that being, of course, Bao and Richelieu, not exactly what we would expect to do very well with against AP, or AP to do damage with. But good news for us, we are going to go ahead and take out Richelieu with a fire. And we have a Georgia here, and I look at this Georgia, and I don't know what's going through his head. Because if you look, his gun's not pointed at us. So we go ahead, let loose that salvo, and we now want to get our guns on the broadside enemies that are over here, because that is what is going to be the most damage. For some reason, Georgia doesn't find us interesting. I'm not 100% sure why. I do know, though, that I have some AP loaded, and I have enemy ships that are broadside to me. So I want to go ahead and deal damage to them as we get absolutely slapped by the Kronstadt there. Thankfully, our heal pops up here. We're going to go ahead and pop that. We know Georgia is close by. We'll go ahead and fire 1 salvo, 2 salvo, 3 salvo into the side of him. Excellent. Now Jean Bart is broadside. Our secondary is going after the enemy destroyer here, and we are going to now just go ahead and try and get our main batteries to do as much damage as we can to this broadside Jean Bart, trying to keep our separation and kind of engage these ships that are out on that outside lane separated from us, as we can do as much damage as we possibly can while we have this opportunity. But Hayate ends up taking us down. Not sure what took a bunch of the health down, but he ends up taking us down, and that's kind of the match for us. But I think it shows off what Picardie can do as far as decent secondary damage, and where the angles like kind of get you compromised. We can go ahead and fast forward through, because some weird stuff happens where like our teammate nearly pulls it out. But overall, Picardie, I think, is a fun ship. It's a ship that people are going to enjoy to play. It's not going to be the best tier 7 ever devised, and it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be fun. It's fine for a campaign ship. If you like secondary battleships, this won't be the king of secondary battleships, but it's a nice little taste. It's a different little flavor to take. Anyways, guys, if you like videos like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.